Naughty Dog has been one of the most consistent game developers for over 20 years. Now, we've gotten games such as fantastic 3D platformers to linear story-driven adventure games. And in this video, we are going to count down the top 10 Naughty Dog games of all time. Quick note, this video is an update to an early 2017 video. Since then, Naughty Dog has released a new game, and the editing and voiceovers have gotten tremendously better. So let's start off the list with an honorable mention: Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. Taking place on a fictional group of islands near Australia, Crash Bandicoot 2 follows the adventures of the anthropomorphic Bandicoot, Crash. The goal of the game is to gather 25 crystals for Crash's nemesis, Dr. Neo Cortex. The crystals are scattered between 25 different levels, accessible via warp rooms, which are hub areas of the game. Although Crash Bandicoot has been nearly everyone's favorite game from childhood, this sequel is not something to be held up high and proud of. It follows the similar scenario to that of the prequel. Though the story is uniquely different, we can't really say the same for the gameplay. Number 10, Uncharted: Drake's Fortune. The Drake's Fortune subtitle is a reference to the fictional main character, Nathan Drake, who believes himself to be a descendant of famed explorer Sir Francis Drake. A 400-year-old clue in the coffin of Sir Francis Drake sets the modern-day fortune hunter on an exploration for the fabled treasure of El Dorado, leading to the discovery of a forgotten island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The search turns deadly when Drake becomes stranded on the island and hunted by mercenaries. Outnumbered and outgunned, Drake and his companions must fight to survive as they begin to unravel the terrible secrets hidden on the island. While the gameplay hasn't held up as well as its successors, it is more focused on combat than climbing. But for a third-person shooter from 2007, the aiming was very good. Uncharted has you solving puzzles, running through the buildings that are hundreds of years old, and fighting waves of pirates. Number 9, Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy is the first installment in the Jak and Daxter series. The game follows the protagonists, Jak and Daxter, around 10 years after Jak and Samus Hagai's arrival in the Sandover village after the conclusion of Jak 2. It centers upon their mission to stop the legion of lurkers from destroying their world with dark eco. The game features many platformer challenges with elements from the action-adventure and brawler genres. Players are required to collect precursor orbs and power cells in order to further northward progress. This dialogue-heavy game is filled with classic puzzles and item collecting system going on. In terms of gameplay, it isn't the most unique one out there. It strikes us as an advanced Bandicoot in a sense that it's a bit more freeform. And while it only gets the 9th spot on the list, it certainly wins a spot on the top 5 childhood games. Number 8, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. What started off as an expansion to Uncharted 4 became its own game, which stars Chloe Frazer, a former accomplice of Nathan Drake and Nadine Ross, one of the villains in Uncharted 4. The Lost Legacy takes place after the events of Uncharted 4 and has you hunting down the tusks of Ganesh in India while fighting a rebel militia on your way there. You may be asking why The Lost Legacy is low on this list, and that isn't because it does anything bad. It's just because the campaign only takes about 6 hours, and the semi-open world can be a little confusing at times. Number 7, Jak 2. Following the events of Gol and Maya, Jak, Daxter, Kira, and Samus have been trying to unveil the mystery of the precursors through the use of a machine. However, pressing the wrong button sends them into a dystopian city where Jak is taken prisoner by Crimson Guards, working for Baron Praxis, and Daxter is left to find a way to get his friend out. Now, during the 2 years, Jak has been exposed to dark eco that was being tested. Thankfully, Daxter rescues Jak, though he was surprised to see what happened to his friend. Jak now must exact revenge against Baron Praxis, as well as uncover a new evil that is about to erupt. When it comes to expectations, sequels have the most burden. The success of the previous game has made it heavy for this game to achieve fans' expectations, and they've done that by introducing combat system into the gameplay with plenty of monsters to fight and bosses to defeat. Number 6, Jak 3. Banished, left for dead, but this hero refused to be forgotten. Jak and his faithful companion Daxter are exiled to the unforgiving wasteland where survival of the fittest is the law of the land. But deadly lands and dangerous creatures are only the beginning. Soon the worst nightmare imaginable finds Jak's world, threatening to annihilate all life with eternal darkness. A darkness Jak knows only too well. Jak's exciting trilogy comes to a close, leading at last to revelations about the mythical warrior Mar, secrets to Jak's enigmatic past, and ultimately to the shocking revelation of who the precursors really are. While there isn't much change going on with the third game, new things had certainly been introduced, such as more quiet scenes, better graphics, and animations, and now they've even added a tank driving experience into the game. The atmosphere itself is what adds to the experience. The added difficulty of fighting baddies in a sandstorm is quite the challenge, and it certainly is deserving of 6th place. Number 5. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. The evil Dr. Cortex is up to no good yet again, and with a new band of henchmen for you to defeat. Crash and Coco travel through numerous periods of time with Tropy's time-twisting machine. The Time Twister consists of 2 hub rooms, the first one containing 5 chambers, each of which containing 6 portals which each lead to a different period of time, including medieval times, prehistoric times, ancient Egypt, and last but not least, the future. It's always good fun when an old game is released a newer version. It's exciting, we get to see, hear, and play our favorite game characters, make it back into our game system again. The music itself is deserving of 1st place in the nostalgia category. Not much is different with the gameplay apart from the boss fight, such as the time when Crash fought with Dingodile. But who could really complain when we love playing old games with new scenarios and stages to complete? Number 4. Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception. Now, fortune hunter Nathan Drake is catapulted headlong into an adventure that takes him on a daring trek into the heart of the Arabian desert and search for the fabled Atlantis of the Sands. This journey pits him and his mentor, Victor Sullivan, against an organization created by Queen Elizabeth and its ruthless leader. When the terrible secrets of this lost city are unearthed, Drake's quest descends into a desperate bid for survival that strains the limits of his endurance and forces him to confront his deepest fears. While the graphics don't look amazing now, in 2011, on a PS3, it could be argued that Uncharted 3 had the best graphics in the system. Now, we often argue whether it's important or not in a game. While the gameplay and story is much more powerful, we couldn't help but admire these amazing graphics. We still can see the remnants of the old-time 3D modeling, but Uncharted 3 has certainly taken it to the next level. Number 3. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. After being tracked down by Harry Flynn, Nathan Drake goes on a quest for Marco Polo's lost fleet. However, when things take an unexpected turn for the worst, Drake must rely on those closest to him in order to find the Sinto-Mani Stone. Now, decent graphics, great quality voiceover actor, good animation with slightly clunky controls. Whatever your verdict may be, you cannot argue that the new take on the story is absolutely mesmerizing. Number 2. Uncharted 4 A Thief's End. Several years after his last adventure, retired fortune hunter Nathan Drake is forced back into the world of thieves. With the stakes much more personal, Drake embarks on a globe-trotting journey in pursuit of a historical conspiracy behind a fabled pirate treasure. His greatest adventure will test his physical limits, his resolve, and ultimately what he is willing to sacrifice to save the ones he loves. As technology grew, the animation and graphic of this game certainly grew as well. Players are pulled in and feel more immersed in the game with the personal conflicts going about. Personal conflicts has never failed to make the audience that much closer to their beloved characters. Number 1. The Last of Us. 20 years after a fungal infection obliterated most of the US population and turned the victims into infected monstrosities, Joel is tasked with escorting Ellie to the Fireflies to help reverse engineer a cure. However, this isn't easy for either of them, since Joel has been left almost permanently bitter after the death of his daughter, and Ellie is distrusting of him. And why wouldn't we choose The Last of Us as the 1st place winner of this countdown? The first scene itself was an Oscar-worthy performance. With the fantastic story and memorable characters, that's what makes the game like this one worth the time to play. We're sure that not a single person has regretted their time that goes into investing into this game. It was well worth it. This isn't just the best Naughty Dog game ever, but one of the best games of all time, and we can't wait for The Last of Us Part 2. Thank you for watching. If you agreed with our list or even disagreed, let us know by commenting. If you are new to the channel and enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button for more videos, and until next time, we'll see you here on Game Domain.